Yeah, we'll start recording. We had to fix our get dry space from Wednesday. We were having issues passing a variable to a remote command. The invoke commandlet runs PowerShell scripts on a remote computer, and everything inside of script block right here is seen as local. I mean, anything inside those curly brackets from here to here, variable names, commands, and everything has to be on the remote server already. And so when we try to pass it, drive letter, user $, or yeah, $, user underscore input 03, it couldn't find this. It wasn't created within the curly brackets. It was created outside the curly brackets. So some Google searching, learning about plus and minus on Google searching, reading some stuff, and told us that we had to have parameter with the variable inside of the curly brackets. We also had to have with the invoke command a dash argument list and the same variable name that was being created outside of the invoke command for it to work. So this dash dash argument list $user input 03 had to be somewhere in the invoke command, either before or after the curly brackets. And that way it allowed the invoke command to pull information from outside the script block and pass it into the curly brackets. Kind of like the old buckets brigade, trying to put out a house fire. You run down to the pond and you fill your bucket up and you got to pass it to somebody else. And then they got to pass somebody else and fill it on the fire. That's kind of what I thought of it as. So this argument list is like this. This is man number one getting the water out of the pond, throwing it to the second man, and then he throws it to the third man right here. And then that finally gets thrown to the last person where it's being passed to the remote machine. My thinking of it. Y'all are probably not old enough to remember bucket brigade. And y'all are looking at me like, you're not that old either, Mr. Goodman. Maybe, I don't know. Some of y'all may be looking at me like, were cars invented back when you were little? So update your code and rerun to see if that works. So hit number 2, number 3, check drive letter E, I think it is. Tells me size and press enter to continue. 3 to quit. Pretty cool. I'll give you some time to update your code if you need to.
I think I messed something up.
Can you spot it?
I don't know. I think I messed up on my get menu and I didn't realize it.
Missing statement block and switch statement. So it says down here in your switch, there's some type of issue. So yeah, scroll up a little bit. We got line 15, function get menu, clear host, write host, blah, blah, blah. That curly bracket on line 21 right there needs to be deleted. And also the get host on line 22 needs to be deleted. The get menu, yeah, get menu needs to be deleted. Okay, now scroll down. So you're on the switch. You close that. You need one more closing curly bracket on line 31. And then you need to hit enter and type get menu. That will probably work better.
Thank you. Okay, let's...
Is that working better? I can't see the bottom of your.
No.
Joe is still trying to run up there at the top though. Scroll back down. So you create the function, get menu, clearing the host. And you write host, ask them the question, user selection, read host prompt. Option 1, 2, or 3. Switch, selection. This would be selection or selection? User selection. Yeah, but he consistently misspelled it. So selection works as long as it's misspelled the same both places. That looks okay. Let me remote control and clear that. You run the thing. Now it's working right, I think. I think you may have scrolled up and yep. You need a pause in here though. Otherwise it runs so fast you can't see the answer. There you go. Oh, let me see here. I'm still running stuff. 3, run it one more time. I think you're moving your mouse on me. Yeah. That's not going to work.
Hit it again.
Why is it not hitting the R key? No, it hit the R key last time.
Nope,
Sorry.
that's probably why. That's why time I do stuff.
Yeah, there we go. It's all working. I'm going to quit the program. You just had a couple of curly brackets out of place there.
Okay.
Okay, so that looks pretty cool. So Matthew York wants to make it human readable. Hmm. So it looks like you can format table command and do some math calculations. I really like this one up here. I guess that was Sean's mic. Yeah, looks like maybe just copying that out of the Stack Overflow. Let me rerun the command, just look what it looks like here. Drive space checker, server 3, checking on E drive. to delete this part. I'm going to paste in that, thinking I don't need that portion. I just need the size and the size remaining formatted. I'm customizing the code a little bit here. It doesn't like something. Missing a closing curly bracket. Open. Close, comma, another at, open, close script block.
Is it not where that size is?
Yeah, that shows the closing down there. That closes there.
I see that one at the ad. Which one does that closing bracket go to? The at curly bracket in equals quotation mark size with right after format table.
No, I think that one was in the very end.
Because I don't see a closing bracket until I guess further maybe.
Yeah, I don't see the wait. That's the script block. That closes all of that. Parameters in there. Format table. I don't have another opening until right there. Seems like I'm missing a closing script block at the end. Yeah, because now that's closed. Now that's closed at the end. I missed the closing script. There it was. I like when you highlighted that. I should have realized that that needs to be closed there, and not these two closing. Okay, so I missed that. There needs to be 3 closing brackets at the end. All right, try again. Server 3, E drive. What kind of mess is it going to do? Size 48.87. Size remaining is 0. So that's not correct. It was free space before?
Yeah.
Alrighty, I don't think that's what it didn't seem right, but hmm. Size remaining. That's not what I thought. That copied it. Apparently didn't. $59 gig. Was that the actual size? What did it look like up before?
It was like in the forties, I think.
Size is correct, 59.45, but my size remaining is not being read into the format. Is it spelled correct?
Does the round at the end where the three space everything to size remaining? Right.
Yep. There it is.
Okay.
There it was.
So just everything has three space.
Now we're going to try server 3 again this time. Check drive letter E. Cool. Except you'd have to know that it was in gigabytes. You could probably add that to the menu. It's like, add that into changing that up a little bit.
I'm not, did not take the little life.
Yeah. View drive space in GB. Something like that. Check drive space in gigabytes. That would make sense. Okay, we're coming up here on break time. Let's take a break. I'm going to put another backward tick mark. I don't know where I want to put my backward tick mark at. I guess right here in front of format table, backward tick mark, and I'm going to hit enter. That way you can see it's still running across my screen.
Do it at round, right before round. There.
Yeah, another backward tick mark here and hit enter. So that is all one command right there, highlighted in blue. All for Matthew. I think the rest of you would rather see it in gigabytes too. He wasn't the only one thinking that. I was too.
Big dot number looks good when it's money, but.
I'm gonna go ahead and start resume recording here. So I was hoping everybody's double checking their code and stuff. And I know code is just trying to think of this right off the, given an assignment and going, hey, write a PowerShell code that can do that. It's pretty hard to do, but I think I've told some of y'all, Dungeons and Dragons fans. I was waiting for Haley to look up, like, huh? What? Dungeons and Dragons? I'm staring at you, and you're like,
no, I was reading stuff. Why are you doing this to me?
because you're there.
Okay.
So, yeah, you could write up some. I just know the Dungeons and Dragons fans, and I've seen somebody write a PowerShell script that did Dungeons and Dragons in different menus and to go through stuff and switch statements, and I'm like, that's pretty darn cool. I was like, now you can take all of that knowledge and you can convert it into, if you're going to have to do administration, that can be converted right over to writing stuff for administering the network. Okay, so this script, I guess the blue highlighted part was probably one of our more complicated sections of this, but you didn't notice I just copied and pasted a lot of that out of Stack Overflow. That's coding. A lot of coders are like, people that work in coding all the time, they basically saying they couldn't pass a job interview with the questions they were asking people coming in. Like, I know some coding stuff, but we have Google right there, and we have all of our code that we've worked on in the past and problems that we fixed in the past, so we can, if we have some issues, we can go copy and paste and modify the code so it fits the current situation we're doing. I mean, yeah, they're pretty smart at code and can write a lot, but there's always complex issues that they have to look up.
You fix one thing and break another, or.
Yep.
You're saying I could be a coder?
No. But Not saying you can't be a coder either, though. So, we're not advanced. We're just really, this is just entry level. Well, this is a little bit more than entry level. We're creating functions and stuff. That's entry level PowerShells, just running some commandlets and line after line, and that's all you're doing. You're not doing any loops or branching stuff out. So yeah, we've kind of moved up to intermediate level, I guess, is what you'd call this, maybe. Coders, people that code all day long are probably laugh at us, but we don't care about them. So the stuff highlighted here in blue, the invoke commands, probably a more complex issue. So we had to use Stack Overflow to figure out how do we pass the user input 03 to a remote computer. How do we get PowerShell to recognize it? Because when we come across the other curly bracket, it says, oh, this is a new section of a program that's going to a remote machine. We're not going to take any variables on this local machine and pass it. Could be security issues or something. So we had actually, with Sean's help and Stack Overflow's help, add in the argument list, put the variable that we want to send with the invoke command, and then have a man inside the bracket to grab that bucket of water, that parameter command, and that pulled it into the memory section of the script block, and that way it could be used in our get volume commandlet. So that was kind of cool. And then old Matthew over there, thinking like everybody else, I would like to see the stuff in gigabytes instead of bytes. And yes, it makes a whole lot more sense to look at storage size in gigabytes instead of in bytes. So we did another Stack Overflow, and we found somebody that had a format type table, and they had size, and then they had, I think they had free space. But when we ran the get volume command, it was not displaying free space. It was displaying size remaining in the column output. So we had to change it up and replace free space with size remaining in 2 different locations for it to actually work. So that was a copy and paste, and all we really changed was the size remaining, and we removed a couple of other columns that we didn't care about looking at.
I don't know what is going on here.
Well, it tells you if something's wrong. So I'm going to scroll a little bit more. Here, start looking at the get menu. Let's look at Mr. Goodrich's. So you can't convert system object type, system management automation, script block. Required parameter script block is required. Okay, so that's on your invoke command. Let's look at invoke command. So you have invoke command, computer name, and then you have $ user input 1, and you have argument list, user 1 input 03, looks good, dash script. You don't have script spelled, no, script, that is spelled right, script block, bracket parameter, user 1, what now? Yep, your parameter right there is parentheses and not curly brackets.
Ah,
That's really hard to see, but that you can thank Matthew York for seeing that.
If you can hear me, tell him I said thank you.
Yeah, you can hear you. Go and try number 2. You're thinking you may have a space issue, but go ahead and hit number 2. Type in server 1 and letter C. Okay, so let's check some more things. So we've got the script block, the curly bracket. We've got get volume, drive letter, $, user 1 input 03. I don't think it requires the space to be at the end of that.
Space.
I don't know. Actually, put your. Nah. What are you doing?
Trying to grab a hold of the bar thingy.
Oh, yeah, I can grab a hold of it. Probably easier than you can. Let me remote control. So stop moving your mouse.
I'm turning off my mouse.
Okay, so I don't think this space right here has any issue. I'm gonna go ahead and put a space there. That shouldn't have an issue with that. Just in case. And then you have the format table. And maybe your curly brackets out at this spot at the end. That there. That end is closed there. That should be a curly bracket. Let me look at my code again. Uh-oh. So curly brackets instead of, so there we go. We had curly bracket there. And is that just an extra parentheses?
Yeah, it was just nice little
That opens and that closes and that closes those curly brackets. So we're kind of trying to circle these curly brackets. Some things you can also curly bracket issues. I do like how that you mouse over them and they show which one it is. But another trick for curly brackets is sometimes circling them with a graphical that way that you can circle and see that there's nothing. You can see what's contained within the curly brackets, and you can see that they're closed properly. So a circle is a way to do that. I didn't quite get through that one, but that's a troubleshooting tip. Let's look on, didn't want it to do that. Look on a little bit further. Yep, same issue. That's curly brackets there. I'm gonna go ahead and do the annotation thing here again. That curly bracket's closed right there. And this curly bracket needs to be closed somewhere. It's closed right there. And then we've got we got these parentheses here closed. These parentheses, and we got this stray. We got this stray parentheses right there. That looks like what we're going to have to clear off the screen. Yep. What'd you do?
Deleted them all.
No, just the one.
Oh.
So now you need a closing curly bracket. And then you need another closing curly bracket. And let's see, where does that one close at? I can't see the whole screen. I clicked that one. Don't think that one is closed anywhere. I clicked that one. It highlights. It highlights that one. But that one's not closed. There we go. It's fixed now. All right, I see some red on Talon's machine.
I've been trying to catch up. I was trying, that's why I was looking at the old Zoom call from a couple days ago to kind of try to catch up, but there's only one of them for the scratch 04 that's been posted, so.
Yeah, I had some Zoom crashing on me and unable to post those videos because it corrupted the video. I've since uninstalled Zoom and reinstalled it, and I don't think that I've had a crash since I've done that. Crossing my fingers, but it does seem like the longer it stays on the computer, the more corrupted it gets. But I also have another theory behind the Zoom issue crashing, that some machines, when it upgrades itself, it leaves behind old files from the old version, and then there's version mismatch conflicts, and that's what it starts causing it to crash randomly.
Isn't there a command in Windows that you can do like in the gallery to add auto remove?
Yep.
Auto remove files.
Yeah, Linux has that, but one thing they've done, of course, you probably can't see if you're remote, but people here, the check for updates, IT has blocked updates because they probably run into that. I've not talked to them, but I bet that's what's been happening. Their auto update's been disabled because as Zoom tries to upgrade itself, it's not doing a full upgrade. It's leaving stray stuff behind. So that may be a tip if anybody has any Zoom issues, probably because you're not hosting, you're probably not going to have Zoom issues. But if you do, Zoom's huge. You'll probably have to be dealing with it in the workforce. Uninstalling the version before you upgrade. That was just an add or remove programs, what they used to call it, or programs and features, whatever they call it now, and you can remove Zoom and then just run the new installer. But IT, since we're enterprise version of Zoom, they put in there's the rest of the code if anybody's trying to catch up. They put in the code so it can't be upgraded. Users can't upgrade their Zoom. Only IT can go into the system and go, we approve this next version to upgrade everybody to.
Uninstall it, reinstall it entirely.
You could use a PowerShell script to uninstall an application and reinstall it. Yep. So that would be something that could be done using the invoke commands and stuff. And you could have a shared folder like we have on server 3. We've got like app deploy $, something like that. Yeah, you could run a PowerShell script and you could use the invoke command, and you could pull all the computer names out of Active Directory and have the invoke command run on every single computer that it pulls, and run a code to uninstall Zoom, and then run code to reinstall it. I think Matthew, yours just going to be, yeah, line 25. Those are just asterisks. They're just for pretty stuff, Jacob. You don't even have to do line 25 or 29. Jonathan Goodrich just left those out. But what it does is when it prints on the screen, it makes this like a little box right there for the end user. They don't do anything at all though. Completely optional. Yeah, Matthew's got some good thoughts there. He has such good thoughts that I think we might actually want to write a PowerShell script that could do that. They could install or uninstall a program and then install a new version off of a file share. And he's sitting over there like, oh no, he's going to tell us to do it without showing us how to do it. Let's pick a program to install and uninstall. Let me think. Okay, interesting. I don't know. I guess you could download Notepad 7.8.8 release. Let me see what the download looks like on this. I guess I'm going to go with the 64-bit installer. It's an executable. No, I don't really want an executable. But I'm going to see if my little trick might work. I'm going to go and download this executable and see exactly what's going on with this executable. So this may not be the program we want to deal with. So I've downloaded an executable. MSI files are a lot better to deal with than executables. So I'm going to open this with the 7-zip program and see if there's stuff inside of it. And there is stuff inside of it, but there's not an MSI installer file. I don't think I want to play with this. It'd be easier to deal with an MSI installer. But that's a small file. We may deal with it anyway. Notepad++, install silently. Simply adding a /s switch will silently install it in the background. Okay. So Matthew York's got us a project that we're going to do with PowerShell. Not his fault. I was wanting to do something like that anyway. And this could be converted over to Zoom or whatever that we might need. And what I'll need you to do is download Notepad++, 64-bit, version 7.88. If you just Google Notepad++, we have a release version 7.88. Scroll down, download the 64-bit installer, the executable. Once it's downloaded, copy it from your downloads folder into the folder on server 3. And download it into my downloads folder. So I'm going to copy that. I need to be in enhanced session mode. I need to be on server 1. And I need to navigate to server 3 and see where I can paste it. I'm going to use the public folder. If you've never shared out a public folder off the server 3, you can just go ahead and share out the public folder. Or if you've used another folder out there, maybe app deploy, $sign or something, but if you're wanting to be exact with the way that we're, anybody else might do an example of, basically to remove complexity, try to put it in your public folder.
Is there a reason why we're using 788 instead of 791?
Yep, because it says release out beside it. Plus, when I Google it, it's also one of the main versions to download. And we're not using the internet, so we don't care if it's got some flaws in it. Security flaws. And the third reason, this Samuel Patty kicked my dog, so I'm not going to use that version. I'm joking. That's across the world. We don't care about people across the world. That's not right. We do. We stand with them. All right, well, I'm going to show this this code again. Let me write up a little notepad file and what I want you to try to do. Plus, it can also be on my server 1. So on Monday, we can look at what we want to be working on. So we want to Create a new PowerShell script named York.ps1. Specify from server 1. So from server 1, you're going to create a PowerShell script named York.ps1. You're going to use the invoke command to install Notepad++ on server 2. Note the installer file requires /s switch to install without user input. And at the current, of course, we'll have to work on this on Monday, but if somebody's wanting to play with this and they're like, sounds like something fun to trade over the weekend or whatever and play with, you could work on that. Move this around a little. There we go. So that's the last part. We're running out of class time. We've got 2 minutes to figure out to get that typed out, maybe in the notepad on your server 1. You might want to save it in case the power goes out or something. I might go ahead and save this too. Save it on my desktop, server 1. Shouldn't put stuff on your desktop, but it's for lab purposes. I'll call it the York PowerShell assignment.
No one's blaming you. Matt.
Huh?
No one's blaming you. And Mr. Disney's taking it like you.
Oh, you can-
I would have probably come up with something more difficult if he didn't come up with that.
All you do is bring in your own little thing, your own last name.
Sounds like someone was very long or just waking up very well.
That's actually my, oh crap, I missed it.
Since it's not first class, unfortunately, we need to keep that in the
Yep. And that's our extension to it. Later, use PowerShell to remotely uninstall Notepad++ on server 2. So basically, we're creating this structure to, you have to deal with this. Maybe you have to, if you're working help desk, you need to uninstall and reinstall Notepad++, and you don't want to get up off of your, out of your help desk area. And you can just sit there and run a PowerShell, ask the person their computer name and run a script and do the work for you.
Have a good one. Did you scroll it, anybody?
Matthew, he'll come get it.
I thought you were ready to go.
No.
I'll-